Hello all, welcome to the program Know Your Government by Ekam IAS, an initiative in which a government scheme is picked upon and analyzed upon for its features, which is followed by a mock question which is in line with the UPSC question pattern. We will now look into a scheme known as the Amrut scheme, that is Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. What is this scheme all about? Infrastructure creation. So, infrastructure creation in the regions of our nation is one of the key idea which has been taken care into this one. Now, infrastructure creation should have a direct impact on the real needs of people. So, whatever be the real needs of people, accordingly, if you are able to map the creation of infrastructure, that is something which can definitely going to have much benefit to our people. Say for example, in a particular region, there is a need for road creation. So that is the infrastructure which is being needed over there. Then you are coming up with an educational institution over there. Of course, having an educational institution is good, but whatever be the need of citizen in an area, accordingly come up with the respective infrastructure which is needed is of extreme importance. Then Amrut scheme. Amrut scheme, we'll see the details of Amrut scheme subsequently. This scheme has replaced the UPA government scheme on JNNURM, that is Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission. A mission which was planned for the renewal of the urban areas has been replaced by the Amrut scheme. Then, this means that focus should be on infrastructure creation, that is infrastructure creation has, and that should have a direct link to the provision of better services to people. So better services to people is where the infrastructure which we are going to build should be linked up into. Then this scheme, so the Amrut scheme is launched with the idea to transform urban living conditions through infrastructure upgradation. That is it. So it is an infrastructure upgradation scheme in the urban sector. Then the ministry which is implementing the Amrut scheme is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. What is the basic purpose of Amrut scheme? First one is to ensure that every household has access to a tap with assured supply of water and a sewage connection. So two parts is been taken care in the first objective. First one is to ensure that there is a good tap connection which is going to every household. Tap connection for water, one. And second thing is parallelly, there is a good mechanism to eliminate waste from that house. That is, a good sewage connection is also ensured as one of the next objective under the Amrut scheme. Then, increase the amenity value of cities by developing greenery and well-maintained open spaces. So, if you especially go to the European nations or to the Western nations, there are specific areas in which, especially in public spaces, there are specific areas in which the vehicles should go, specific areas for the cyclists to move on, specific areas for people to walk, and specific areas for the open spaces like parks, etc. So, which is ultimately facilitating a node of a mental health as well as in terms of people. So, under the Amrut scheme, to ensure that in a city region, developing of greenery as well as public spaces, or which is involving maintaining of open spaces, is one of the objective under the Amrut scheme. Then, reduce pollution by switching to public transport or constructing facilities for non-motorized transport. So, switch to public transport or to take up alternative travel mechanisms which may not cause pollution part is again one of the purpose of Amrut scheme. So three purposes. One is every household should have an access to tap as well as the sewage part. Second thing is to maintenance of open spaces in cities. Two, and third one is to reduce pollution by switching to public transport. Then earlier, the Ministry of Urban Development used to give project by project sanctioned. So Amrut is an initiative wherein which there is a good mode of cooperative federalism happening between the state and the central government. The crux is this. Previously, if a scheme needs to be implemented at each stages or for different projects, say for example, construction of a canal, construction of a road in a particular area. So for all those, there needs to be separate approvals from the state government or separate approvals from the central government as well. In this case, under Amrut, what is happening is, if a construction of a particular open spaces in a particular region or facility for sewage as well as for tap water. So for all those, if the plans is being listed in something which is known as State Annual Action Plan. State Annual Action Plan. In the respective state's annual action plan, once it is been there, then the Ministry of Urban Development will give a single time approval. So which means for construction of every different sections of project, you don't have to get an approval every time, which is making the process much easier as again another benefit of the Amrut scheme. Then in this way, Amrut makes states equal partners in planning and implementation of projects, thus actualizing the spirit of cooperative federalism. So if there is a statement in the question that Amrut plays a role in terms of facilitating cooperative federalism, that is definitely a true statement. Then the mission will focus on the following thrust areas. The key thrust areas under Amrut schemes are: 1. Water supply, we have already discussed that. 2. Sewage facilities and septage management. Sewage facilities and septage or the septic tank part management. 2. Stormwater drains to reduce flooding. If you remember, in 2015 is wherein which there has been unexceptional rains in the Chennai, and those have resulted in extreme floods in those regions. The key reason was there were not even mechanisms for the water which has been coming up as part of the rain to flow. So to overcome that, or with that kind of experience in line, Amrut scheme has got a clear-cut plan to tackle the water which is coming from floods etc. in a specific manner. Then pedestrian, non-motorized and public transport facilities, parking space etc. So the management of pedestrian, non-motorized and public transport facilities and parking spaces, as well as enhancing amenity value of cities by upgrading green spaces and parks and recreation centers, especially for children. So the 5 key thrust areas of Amrut scheme include: 1. Water supply, sewage facilities as well as the septage management, then stormwater facilities management to avoid flooding, then pedestrian, non-motorized transportation mode, so there should be specific avenues for that, and last is to ensure the green spaces in the city so that the people can have a comfortable life over there, and especially taking care of the child in mind. Then 500 cities will be taken up under Amrut. Since the implementation of this project, since the NDA government have come up with the proposal of Amrut scheme, the target is to make these interventions in 500 cities. Then, so what are all the cities or what are all the nature of cities which is being involved under the Amrut scheme? Let us have a quick look about that as well. One is all cities and towns with a population of over 1 lakh with notified municipalities, including cantonment boards and civilian areas. So first one is to all cities and towns with a population of over 1 lakh, wherein which there is a notified municipalities, including cantonment boards, is one areas which has been coming under the Amrut cities. Then all capital cities, towns of states or union territories not covered in above. So in case any capital cities or key district places has been missed, so that will be the second area which has been covered under the Amrut cities. Then all cities or towns classified as heritage cities, by the Ministry of Urban Development under the Hriday scheme. So there is a different scheme which is known as Hriday scheme to take care of the heritage cities and to focus upon its development. We'll see that subsequently as a different question altogether. Then, so all the cities which are listed as heritage cities is coming under the ambit of Amrut cities. Then, 13 cities and towns on the stem of main rivers with a population above 75,000 and less than 1 lakh. So the cities along the stem of main rivers, which is again to ensure that there are no sewage disposal which has been happening from the cities into the river. So there should be a proper channel for the sewage etc. to flow is again be properly be taken care under the initiative of Amrut. And the last is 10 cities from hill states, islands and tourist destinations, not more than one from each state. So to ensure that the benefit of this Amrut scheme is going across different regions and different types of geography, we are given specific instructions to take cities from the hill states, island and for those cities which are some of the key tourist destinations in our country. That is it. So the 5 cities include all cities and towns with a population of over 1 lakh. Then all capital cities, towns of states or union territories which are not covered under this one. All the towns which are classified as the heritage cities. Then 13 cities and towns on the stem line of the main rivers, as well as the last one is 10 cities from hill states, islands and tourist destinations. We will now quickly go and see a question pertaining to Amrut. With reference to Amrut, Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, consider the following statements. First statement is, it is not a scheme jointly implemented by Labour and Employment Ministry and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So this is a confusing statement. Now, because of the presence of this note, suppose that this note is there. It is a scheme jointly implemented by Labour Ministry and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Is that right? That is wrong if the note is there. Because that is a negative statement. Since the presence of note is there, the statement is by default becoming correct. We'll read that statement once more. It is not a scheme. It is not a scheme jointly implemented by the Labour Ministry as well as the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, because it is a scheme which has been implemented by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. 1. This is a correct statement. Some of the thrust areas in the mission includes water supply, sewage facilities and septage management, electrification, stormwater drains to reduce flooding, etc. So, is the element of electrification one of the key entity under the Amrut scheme? No. We'll see that 500 cities will be taken up under Amrut and includes all cities or towns classified as heritage cities under the Hriday scheme. So, this statement is correct as we have seen in the explanation or seen in the details before, since the element of electrification that is not one of the key thrust areas. The thrust areas is to focus upon the development of the other part, as we have seen, which is making the second statement wrong. So, the correct statements would include statement 1 and statement 3, which means from the option A is correct. Statement 1 and 3. Thank you so much.